Hey guys, we're coming to you tonight from the field corn. I want to show you the struggle that farmers deal with all the time. Seems like it's always something. This is the result of coons in the corn. It's hard to believe, isn't it? And it's like this, not quite this bad, but pretty bad all over the field. I don't know if you can see up there, even up farther into the rows, you can see corn laying down. It's like this all over the cornfield. It's a constant battle around here every year to keep the coons out of the corn, out of the sweet corn, out of the field corn. We've got electric around the sweet corn, and that's keeping them out pretty good. But this is a great big field of corn to have to put electric around to keep them out here. We just don't have enough of that kind of fence to keep them out. I don't know. It's pretty much destroyed. Not only did they knock it down, they've also eaten the ears out of it. As you can see, it's a really nice corn crop. Really tall. I just hope we have something left by the end of the season to pick. I want to give you an update on this calf with the cut foot. He's still up, him and the mama. He's actually doing pretty good. Well, he's moved around now to the other side, and we can't see it as well. But it looks a lot better than it did. I think he's always going to have a place there. See if we can get a little better look at him. It looks a lot better. He'll probably stay up for a little while longer just so it can be watched and doctored. There's a pretty good shot of it. Looks a lot better than it did. Here's the sweet corn. These first two rows are pretty much done. We didn't get much off of them. We froze 4 bags off of probably, I'd say 3 dozen ears. Maybe 2 to 3 dozen. It's not putting off much. Here's the later corn here. This is our owl. He's fell over. Trying to keep the birds out of it. The birds keep landing down, flying down into it and eating down into the top of the ears. And then after they tear into the ears, they sour down below you know, where they've got into them at. The shucks, down below the shucks is what I'm trying to say. So we're trying to keep the birds out with the owl decoy things. We're hoping next week to get a lot of this. I'm going to try to cut a good bit of it off and can it. And we'll probably freeze some on the ear. He mowed down all the tater patch. So it's all mowed down. It's a pretty poor crop this time too. We've had really, really bad year with the garden this year. We've just been really disappointed in it. But the weather's been crazy. And the insects have been crazy. So we can't even keep melons alive. These are a banana cantaloupe. This is something new that we put out this year. I'm hoping they'll survive long enough to get ripe. Looks like about 3 on it. 3 of them. And there's still a few more blooms in there. So I don't know. We'll see. And up here, well, here is our one little lonely watermelon plant that has survived so far. And I'm not sure what this is. We put out a moon and stars, but they don't really look like moon and stars, so I don't know. I can't remember what other kind we put out. As you can see all the way down through here, We have melon plants, and we've got two left. That's it. Look at this. This is new this year. This is loofah gourds. Kendall wanted to grow loofah gourds. There's one. That's all I've seen on here so far. Well, there's some little tiny ones. There's some smaller ones. I just love the way these kind of things grow up on these cattle panel trellises, because they're just awesome. There's our other owl guarding the corn crop. And this is what's left of the cabbage. The kraut's still doing okay. Looks like we've got two heads left out here to take in, and they're ready to go in. I don't want to do anything with them yet. I may do something next week with them. I don't think I'm going to do any more kraut. I think that's more than enough. I've still got a little bit left from last year, so I think we've got plenty. We've also got squash growing in the corn patch. I'm not sure what all kinds is in there. I know there's a butternut in there. We've seen some butternut laying in there, so I'm hoping they'll make it too. We'll keep the squash bugs off of them. Butternut's one of our favorites. We like it over any other squash out there, winter or summer. Look at those sunflowers. If nothing else has done awesome, the sunflowers certainly have. The beans, not so much. I'm waiting on them to try to get some of them canned. There's small ones in there. They're just not growing very fast. We finally did get 2 or 3 days of rain. We got about 3 inches of rain altogether. So, I don't know what the holdup is now. Look at this big guy. Oh, he's all bent over. I don't know if I can get him raised up. He's huge. Ain't he pretty? He's as big as a dinner plate. I like to save seeds out of him. And we have one squash living here in the garden. In this garden. Ow, I got a sore finger. I'm not sure what it is. Nothing's come on it yet to see. It might be a patty pan, I kind of think. These beans here are, actually they're weedy. I don't care how much you weed, there's always still going to end up weeds. These are called tongues of fire. We're going to let these dry down and use them for dried beans. And my peppers. I've been really happy with the peppers. There's a bell pepper. These notapinhos have just outdone themselves. See them hanging in there? See that? See them? They're really good. I stuffed some with cream cheese and some seasonings. Then dipped them in breadcrumbs and baked them. They're really, really good. I'm going to try to put a bunch of these up next week, and I'm going to try to stuff them, and I'm going to freeze them stuffed so I can just take them out of the freezer and pop them in the oven. Look at these tomatoes. How pitiful is this? I don't know if these dry leaves are from the weather or if it's a blight on them. We have gone along and pulled off these dried branches and leaves. I don't know how many times. I'm tired of pulling. At this point, I'm about to give up on them. We come out and picked a few today. They weren't near as many as we were hoping, and they weren't near as good as we were hoping. So they're actually in the canner cooling down now. I think we had 16 pints, which I was surprised. I didn't think we were going to have that. So I was really surprised that we had that many. But the rest of these will go on and ripen without getting all these splits. I think the rain does this when it comes a lot of rain. When it's been really dry and then it rains, it'll make them split. See if I can walk through here without falling over something. Look here at the zinnias. Look at that. Is that not the prettiest thing? These have become my favorite flower by far. They're just gorgeous. The colors on them are just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I found some oregano and basil, or Steve did, I guess, the other night. The weeds got in my zinnias, and I'm afraid to try to pull them up because I'm afraid I'll pull the flowers up with the weeds, because I tried that in the beans and I pulled as many beans up as I did weeds. So I'm just going to have to look through the weeds. This is oregano. This is basil. But I actually intended to cut today and I forgot. We might do that before we go in tonight. And I'll stick it in the dehydrator. Look at that one. Wait a minute. Look at there. Look at those. I'm telling you, there's just nothing like them. Nothing like them. Baker Creek is where I get my zinnia seeds from. Look at that one. And I couldn't be any happier. Look at that, Steve. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. It's like a work of art. Just beautiful. There's another big pretty orange one. And we got some, I think those are cosmos down there. I think that's what they're called. And here's the asparagus. It's all gone to seed. I think this is really pretty. So pretty. That'd be pretty in a flower arrangement. Actually, there's a fern that they use in flower arrangements called asparagus fern, and it looks a lot like this. I don't know. Maybe it is asparagus. I don't know. I'm sure it's in the same family. But yeah, looks really pretty. But they've about all fallen off. I don't know if you can see any of the little berries on them or not. See the little berries up there? Those are the seeds. They turn red and then they fall off. Here's one here I can get close to. It's got a Japanese beetle sitting on it. There it is. Really pretty. It's amazing the beauty that the good Lord gives us every day. You just got to stop and take time to look at it. I try to. Look, even that one's pretty, and he's a little tiny one. Well, this is what the garden looks like now. Won't be too much longer. The garden will be winding down. It's getting that time in the year. All these really ripe tomatoes, like over there that you see, those are all no good. They're split, or they've got bad spots, or something's eat on them, insects, or some kind of critter. I don't know. We find one every once in a while. It's just got big bites taken out of it. I don't know what it is. Not sure. But that's what we got right now. Okay, we're up here at the raised bed out by the greenhouse. These are our greasy beans that we got from Flutie Lick. We picked quite a few, probably what do you say?
Half a basket.
Quarter of a bushel, maybe? The other night. Well, maybe more than that. And I've strung up some of them. I want to make leather breeches, which are just basically dried beans, and then you rehydrate them. It's just another way to store them if you don't want to can them or don't have any way to freeze them or whatever. Something they used to do in the old days, especially in the mountains. But I thought I'd give it a try. Here's more basil that probably needs gathered. It's starting to go to bloom. I pulled all the blooms out of it the other day and took all the tops in and dried them down. And I see it's blooming out again. And the herbs are all kind of drying down. These are the volunteer tomato plants. And as you see, they're on the ground. They're in the beds. They're everywhere. We've got volunteer tomato plants all over the farm this year, I think. But this is what's here right now. Okay, our last stop tonight is here with the other raised beds. Here is 3 more heads of cabbage, more big sunflowers, and more big sunflowers. And up here is more volunteer tomatoes. All those little red tomatoes, those are the little flower pot tomatoes that I put out this spring. I do not like them. I just left them. They're really tough. They didn't have any flavor. I didn't care for them at all. And if I don't like a tomato, then you know it's not a good tomato. Because I'll eat about any tomato out there. But there's some Swiss chard up here that I need to take in and get it frozen and put away. I think these tomatoes are the blue cream that I had here last year that I didn't care much for. I started to pull them up, and I probably should have because they've choked out my Swiss chard. We're fixing to put a little bit more stuff out in these beds, I think, for fall, when we get this cabbage out and I get the Swiss chard out. The Swiss chard's growing in a pallet, the pallet that we had the lettuce in back in the spring, and it's done really good in there. Actually, it's actually rainbow chard. I see yellow, but I don't know, I don't think I can see any other colors, but it's really pretty when you can actually see it. And then back here is my hibiscus. This has 2 different color blooms on it, and I'm not sure why, because I'm pretty sure that in the beginning it only had pink ones. My mom gave me seeds for these years ago when we first moved here, and hers came, the original seed from hers came from her grandfather. So that would have made them coming from my great-grandfather, which I think is pretty neat. But this just gets bigger and prettier every year. The Japanese beetles like them really well, so I don't never cut any and take them in because they're always full of bugs. But they're really pretty just the same. So that's all we have tonight. Don't pay attention to my crazy hair. It's been a really long day. We're glad you came to visit, and we'd like for you to like our video and share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't. That way you'll get a notification when we do put out a new video. And come back and see us soon. Have a great night. God bless. Bye-bye.